Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. I'm Nomadic Timbo, and today I'm going to talk to you about what it's like to live, work and travel in Norway. But first of all, let me show you this epic view. Yep, I don't think there's any doubt what country you're in when you look at that view, eh? I mean, a fjord with the sunset doesn't get much more spectacular than that. Okay, so what's it like to live and work here? Well, I'll get to the traveling bit later on, but I'll start with living and working here. Living is, what's nice is that you feel as though basically they take good care of you, whether you're a local or whether you're an immigrant, and that's always very, very, I always feel grateful about that, and it's it's a good place for opportunity and to make, good money in quick time, because even though it's mega expensive here, trust me, when you're working here, the salaries more than make up for it, as long as you, it helps if you don't smoke, for example, or if you don't go out drinking too much, because if you do both of those things, it might be a bit more of a challenge to save money. But, you can still get around it, but it might be just a little bit more of an uphill battle. But no, if you don't do those things very, very often, don't get me wrong, you could, of course, go out for a drink on the weekend or whatever, but but it does cost you. Nothing can prepare you for how expensive it is here. And it can be a little bit intimidating in the beginning. But then as soon as you start working, it doesn't take long until that disappears. It's like everywhere else, really. If you go into anywhere new, then you are going to have like a little bit of, doubt in your mind, and you're going to feel like, it's going to take a little bit of time for you to settle in. So that's normal. But if you know, actually, a bit of advice I will give you, if you know people who live in Norway before you intend on living and working here, definitely contact them, because if you can get like a little bit of help from them, then that really, really would be very, very useful indeed, for both social reasons, of course, because obviously it's great spending time with friends, but also they can really help you get the bureaucratic stuff sorted out, which can be, it's not like complicated or anything. It's just that when you set up a bank account, for example, you really do need to make sure that you have all of the relevant paperwork required, because they do try to catch you out sometimes. So the way it works is you start off by getting what's called a D number, which is a temporary tax number, which is nice because it means that you can work, pretty much right away until you actually get a permanent tax number. So, and I think it took me about a month until I got a permanent tax number. So basically, when you do get the personal number, as they call it, then you get pretty much all of the rights then, like healthcare, free healthcare, amongst a few other things as well. You do pay more tax, like 34%, but the year after you get it all back anyway. And what's nice is that you don't have to chase them about it. You just get it without any dramas. And you even get holiday pay back as well, depending on the job that you have, of course. But you have holiday pay on top of tax back the following year, and it's a pretty good feeling when you get a good amount of money coming in the following year, trust me. So what I will say about working here in Norway is that I don't know if I've come across a more relaxed kind of environment with all three different jobs that I've worked since I've been living here. And I've lived here, it's been a little bit scattered, but it's a combination of about 2.5 years, I think, if I just bring everything together. But in my experience, Norwegian employers tend to be like pretty relaxed. It's like they show you the ropes, and then it's like, okay. And I'm like, oh, is that all you're showing me? And then, you just get on with it. It's almost like they have total faith that you're going to do an effective job despite not being experienced at the job that you're doing at the time. So it's kind of comforting in that way, I think. pretty, it's like, what's nice is that I've had 3 completely different jobs, well, except for warehouse work, because I've done that before. But the other 2 jobs are totally different to what I've done previously. So that's like facilities management and landscape gardening. And like I said in my previous video, oh, helicopter flying. There you go. God, look at that sky, it's amazing. But yeah, what was I saying? Yes, so like the 2 different jobs, big confidence booster, because it was really physical work instead of, you know, sitting down at a desk all day. And like one of them I've even been working outdoors, particularly with landscape gardening, for example. So that's been lovely and awesome. And yeah, I mean, I think I at least as far as my social circle is concerned here in Norway, I don't think I've met people who have not enjoyed their job, to be honest. Or at least at the bare minimum, they can tolerate it. So, I mean, that can only be appreciated, right? Living here, well, I mean, I've only been living in Oslo, admittedly. And if you're a native English speaker, it's probably the city that's going to give you the most opportunity, not only because it's the biggest, but also there's just a little bit more opportunity here. And like any other capital city, it's really like multicultural and cosmopolitan. I mean, you can like work in the other major cities like Stavanger and Bergen, for example, but I think it might be just a slight, just maybe a little bit more of a challenge compared to Oslo. But again, it depends on who you know, because if you know the right people, obviously that makes it a lot easier. So yeah, just make the most out of that if you can. But I mean, if you are coming here and you don't know anybody, then your best chance is to join agencies. If you join recruitment agencies, then like what I did, for example, with my second job was I joined an agency called Logent. I don't know if they're still here, but they were able to get me a job working for H&M doing warehouse work very quickly. So that completely took the pressure off me even before I arrived in the country, because I called them before I arrived in Norway. So that was good. The only problem is that it is expensive here, but the salaries more than make up for it. Like the cheapest you're probably gonna pay for rent would be about 6,500 kroner, which is roughly 650 to 700 US dollars equivalent, I think. Could be mistaken about that, but I'm pretty sure it's close to those figures. But I mean, I know that can sound intimidating. It certainly was for me in the beginning. But yeah, when you look at your pay slips coming in, and as long as you don't blow your money on silly things, then yeah, I mean, it's very easy to make a lot of profit while you're here in very quick time too, I might add. So what's it like when it comes to the social aspects? Well, I hate to sound like I'm generalizing. I mean, it's very relaxed here, and I love relaxed, I love chilled out kind of environments. But I think socially, it's like people keep to themselves a lot. A lot of people tend to be private, and that's fair enough. There's no problem in that. But what I'm trying to say is that just don't expect it to be like, just don't expect to make like double figures amount of friends in like or close friends, I should say, in really quick time. You can make a lot of acquaintances, but as far as like making close friends is concerned, it might take a little bit of time to do so, because like there's no pub culture here, for example. So people don't, well, in my experience, the vast majority of people go out on the weekends and not so much during the middle of the week. But having said that, though, I mean, you can still have a really good laugh with the locals. I mean, I like their humor. It's very different to what I'm normally used to experiencing rather. Because I'm kind of used to sarcastic humor, but here I think it's more on the ironic side. And yeah, I've definitely had some of the worst hangovers in my life since I've been in Norway too. So sounds a little bit contradictory compared to what I said a minute ago, but yeah. No, I mean, it's not bad. I mean, I got some really close friends from Norway now after living here, and the nice thing is that they're from different parts of the country. So that leads me to the next part. I'm going to talk about traveling now. It's not cheap to travel around Norway, admittedly, but again, if you, like myself, have got connections around the country, then it's really good to make the most out of it, because not only is it awesome to see them again, but it actually makes it a lot cheaper for you as well, and local knowledge, you can't beat that when it comes to seeing places where just being a regular or normal tourist you may not get a chance to see. And so the areas that I've been to, first of all, I'll talk about Arendal, because if I didn't mention that first, I think I would hurt my friends' feelings if you're watching, which I hope you are. But Arendal is a nice, well, I mean, I think it's probably the closest experience I've ever had to living in a real small town or local town in Norway. But it's very beautiful as well, because there's fjords around that area, and luckily my friends took me out on a few different boat trips, and I still appreciate that, guys. And went swimming in the fjords, and much to my surprise, I mean, I know it was the summer, but even in the summer I thought the water was going to be really cold to swim in, but I was actually mistaken. It was super nice. It was like jumping into a bath. I couldn't believe it. But then one thing, and yeah, I still haven't forgiven you guys for doing this, was that I went for a swim with my friends, and little did I know it was going to be a 2-kilometer swim, and I don't think I've ever been more exhausted in my life. Yeah, I haven't forgotten, guys, trust me. But no, I appreciated it in the end, just like you do with any good workout, I think. So yeah, that was a cool experience, and yeah, definitely a story I've told to many people, and stories are only a good thing, right? Okay, so to talk about a couple of the other parts of Norway I've been to. So I've been to the Stavanger area. I'll start off with that. Beautiful area to the southwest of Norway. And it's I mean, when you look at this, it's kind of similar to that, but I think even more spectacular, because there's a lot more fjords around in that area, and there's an insane hike that you can do. Well, I mean, it's not insane regarding, how long it is, because frankly it's quite easy, much to my surprise, particularly when you come across the view that you see. But anyway, it's called Preikestolen. And Preikestolen is one of the most iconic views that you can find in Norway. Epic view, where you could come on this rock that's shaped a little bit like my arm is pointing there, and you're looking down at a fjord, and the mountain on the other side. It's breathtaking. It's definitely one of the most amazing views I've ever seen when doing a hike. So definitely check that out if you get the chance. And in the Bergen area, that's also beautiful as well. I mean, some similarities to Stavanger, but I think the town buildings look a little slightly different, because there's a few more of those iconic, like, maritime wooden and coloured buildings, I think, from what I remember, compared to Stavanger. So it makes it like a very colourful kind of town, and Bergen is known as the gateway to the fjord, so that kind of speaks for itself. And also that's got a couple of epic hikes as well. And yeah, just and what's nice is that you don't have to go too far outside of Bergen to experience some amazing outdoors activities and scenery and stuff. And well, actually it's the same for Stavanger too, so those are really good reasons to check those areas out. And the other thing I will mention too is that there's an epic train ride that I took earlier this year, going from Bergen to Oslo, or you can do it vice versa. Guys, I strongly recommend it. I mean, like, I didn't think the train ride in Sri Lanka that I did before would be topped. I think it might have been, to be honest, because wow, I mean, like, particularly the first half of the trip, if you're going from Bergen, you see these epic fjords with these giant waterfalls coming down the side. It took my breath away. And even though it was late April, like halfway through the journey, we were going through all of these mountains that were completely covered in snow, and I was just gobsmacked. I couldn't believe that, I know it's Norway and I know it's far up north, but I still couldn't believe that so much of the country was still, like, just completely white at that time with all the snow on the mountains. It was incredible, and you saw, like, cross-country skiers and stuff, so it was a real Nordic kind of feel. But anyway, point being is, definitely take that train ride if you get the chance, because I think it is regarded as one of the, if not the best train ride in the world. I don't know how it compares to Trans-Siberia. I've never taken that train ride, but I mean, it's definitely worth it for sure. Admittedly, I haven't been to like the northern part of the country, like Trondheim, Tromsø, and Lofoten, and Svalbard. And I know all of those places are meant to be breathtaking. I mean, like Lofoten is definitely high on my to-do list, because since getting into landscape photography, I found out that that's one of the most amazing places that you can check out. So yeah, definitely look at those places, even though I can't tell you from experience what they're like, but I can see by just photos that I've seen and by what friends have been telling me since I've been living here. It's incredible. They look absolutely unreal. So yeah, there you have it, guys. I think I'll leave it there. Hopefully it's been useful information if you're thinking about living, working or traveling Norway. Highly recommended to visit this country, even though it's expensive, but I mean, it's worth it. I mean, like sometimes you can go to really expensive countries and you know, once you see what they've got to offer, then you'd be really glad that you did it. So strongly recommended. And yeah, guys, so I'll end it there. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.